All right, we'll go ahead and get started. It is 9 o'clock, 9:01. We'll go ahead and start our budget and finance committee. I was like, oh my God, what I hit? It is. It is 9 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started with the budget finance committee meeting. We'll go around the room and do introductions from the committee and folks, special guests of the committee. So we'll start with Marie behind us, and we'll go around.
Marie Rice.
Mayor Eagley.
Karen Bailey.
John Mosley.
Glenn White.
Jason Harris.
Matthew Rice.
Stephen Hendricks, chair of the committee. And Todd Wilcox is here, but he's getting us cups of coffee, so he'll be right back very shortly. So we will go ahead and get started. We left off last time. We had looked at some of the revenues. We had made a couple of suggested changes as it relates to revenues. The mayor had mentioned to us some opportunities to use one-time funding and other opportunity sources to help narrow down our deficits to 386,564. And so I wanted to start the time by giving Karen, who's back from vacation, glad to have you back. Karen or the mayor, either one, some time to share with us any updates they may have, and then we'll continue forward.
The only update I have is I did check with Mr. McNulty, our financial consultant. He is going to do an analysis, but he felt confident we could do the 3 cents from the debt service for a year, and he said he would review it, send me an email to that effect. But I should have that this coming week. So, but did check with him on that. And then, of course, Karen's been out, so we didn't get to make a couple adjustments in the revenues. We'll make that and get it back out to the commission on raising that 1 to 45, or whatever amount we came up with that I've got. Yeah, to raise 10,000. But on the revenue side, that's the only update I have since Wednesday.
Okay.
I did look on the miscellaneous. It is a miscellaneous. Like you might get something from anything. So it's really hard to put anything on it. But I did do analysis, and it's just odds and ends stuff that comes in. So I don't know that we can really increase that.
Yeah, thank you.
Stephen, when we start going through this, can you put that on the screen?
Yeah, I could put the one that I have latest on the screen, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Well, I figured with just one, it wasn't worth printing another one. So
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
You could do that, that'd be great.
hopefully I can get all the revenues in as soon as it's in, and that'll be priority this week. And then we'll have updated revenues too.
Will that bring down the shortfall?
Hopefully,
Or how much?
depends.
Give me a ballpark.
Well, it won't bring our shortfall for next year, but it will help in the fund balance. It won't help in our shortfall for the, 2021, but it will help us in our fund balance.
And a shortfall for the current year.
Yes.
The other thing that's been in the news just yesterday, I guess, the state is looking at cutting expenditures in their budget, their back in session currently, and they're talking about reducing pay rate and even pay raise out of the state. We won't know, of course, just the office holders portion of that's 27,000. So it may be another week or two until they settle the final budget. I guess we'll find out if that's included or not.
They have asked that 12%.
12% across the board, from 12% across the board. So.
And even that 27 is not counting benefits.
Okay. So it would get us closer to a penny potentially.
Probably.
Thank you. Any questions for them? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and continue forward. One of the items that was suggested that we do last time was for each of us to independently kind of go through the budget and identify some areas in which we can see in the expenditure side that we'd like to discuss. And so what I'd like to do now is open the floor up, and we'll start here, and then we'll work through specific areas after the fact. We'll open the floor up at this time to see, as folks went through the budget, what did they discover as areas that they wanted to address or discuss?
I just have a handful of line items. I don't know if we want to start with a certain department or if you just want me to. I guess the first one is it goes through, following down on page 11, the county clerk, 52500-106. And I just saw that there was quite a bit of increase there, and I don't know if we could maybe explain that one.
52.
I'm sorry, 162. 162.
52506.
Oh, I moved them. What I did is they have them clumped in all these different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I've clumped them together. If you look down on 52500-189, it's zero. So I clumped them together. And you'll see that in Darren's too,
Yeah, I think that's.
because they didn't have black stuff. So I'm like cleaning it up.
Thank
The
you.
office holder knows that and the auditor knows. I should have told you all that. And the nurses are now up in a different part too.
In the sheriff's budget.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm glad y'all are seeing that. You're seeing changes. That's good.
While we're on the county clerk office, last year, she said she was going to pay for part-time employees. That's supposed to continue each year, in the past, that's the way.
That's the way I understood it.
That's what I understood.
She's taking 14,000. If you go back to your big notebook, if you look at her budget, their letters are in there. In her letter, she said she would give 14,000 back.
Cover the cost of the part-time.
Well, I don't,
Just put it in other line items.
last time I put it in that, she really didn't tell me where to put it, so we can
But
just,
she's got over here, like maintenance and repair office supplies, where she's put that money from the reserve into, and she made it from moving over. But last year, she put 24,000, she covered, additional line items as well, but she paid for that part-time.
so that's just something I'll have to ask her, I guess.
Do you know what her current reserve is?
Hers are, and I haven't done totals because I'll have to do a new report. And you go all the way through June. County clerk. So she used all of her one. She did 14,801 last time. And then since then, she's got 8, 9, 10, about 11,000 in that. She's got 11, 12, 13, about 14. She used all this one in her building. 14, she's got about 14 or 15,000 now. Of course, she'll get some each month, which they may be down with what's went on and then being closed.
With the fees and stuff. So she's got 15,000 in reserve?
Somewhere in there, I'm just estimating.
Reserve funds.
But now
Reserve funds.
that's
It has to be
taken,
used for certain things.
the 9,000 that we hope to get back from that 637 is out of it.
So I have a note to send Mitzi a message to ask her if the second part-time person will be coming out of her reserve or other areas, or is that an actual part of her budget for this time around?
And her 14,000 is not showing in this budget.
There's not really a way to pay
Right.
the reserve in the need.
So what I do is I move it in there as soon as we pass the budget.
Since we're in the county clerk, any other comments as it relates to the county clerk? And then Matt, if you have another one, we'll move forward.
I did not have any more in county clerk, but right below that circuit court clerk, 53100-337 maintenance and repair services. It went up about 7,000, and I didn't know if that 7,000 was something that could be on the grant list. If he knows that there's some upcoming maintenance or software upgrade or something like that, it could come out of the state Tennessee grant funds that we're working on this for.
531.
53100-337.
I'm not mistaken, that's where they're gonna do the civil office. Do that, do it out of the grant, I think.
So do we need to show it on the budget here? We're gonna get the grant money.
We showed it on the grant. I don't know.
It's on the grant.
Mhm.
So
So,
that one could maybe go back down to 31.
Well, if that needs to show on the budget,
doesn't need to be that long, does it?
There's no note in his original.
That's what I was looking for.
I don't think the increase had anything to do with what we discussed with the grant. Now, I'm not sure why he got that line item. It was something to be included in the funds. But, because what he had indicated to me was blasting in his offices, and there's also, he's looking at one other estimated item, but he hadn't got an estimate on it. So, we was getting the price from BIS.
And I know this year he got scanners and stuff. I don't know if that was something to do more with them. What do you suggest that we talk, Bubba and I talk to him this week? And see, would that be okay?
See if he can move back to 31,000.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If it was just kind of a one-time thing coming up this year, I mean, if it's a recurring maintenance, I think it's probably need to bump it up. But it's just something planned for this year that we can cover in the grant. Go that route.
He already had his budget submitted when we went over the grant numbers, so I don't think it's anything to do with the grant. But that means it's not something we could use the grant for.
Since we're in the circuit court, anybody else have anything for circuit court? Okay.
I've got a whole list.
I don't have anything else, sir. I had, a few line items in the sheriff's budget, and
Got $156,000. Go ahead.
sheriff, I had, 54110-106.
Dash 106.
Yes.
Okay.
Where it went up to the 420,000.
Yes, and the line item right below that, it went up quite a bit. It would be 106, 108, and then 115. Down below that, sergeants. So we had a 15% increase, 11% increase, and 7% increase. I don't know if there was any.
I think one of those, he had an SRO that he had to pick up, maybe, the school system.
And that's the reason I wrote SRO over there,
Mhm.
because we get that money back again from the school system. So we get luck, that was, at first they told us no. So, but it is in there. I mean,
So the 420 does reflect a 35,000 increase for the SRO, but that's money that'll come back to the
and
county.
it's in here, the 35 is in here as income.
Okay, the income is in there as well.
So
Okay.
it'll offset.
Okay.
That's the reason I wrote it there, because I knew. We missed when we did the first thing, I did not do the sheriff's, when he said all the, updates and all. Joy's not on there. Grind staff, we did not put the health department, so there's a lot of changes to that was not on there at first. I did the one that was for that here in the courthouse. We took that, I think they seen it, but their names and all mixed off of that. But if you look in the sheriff, I have an Excel sheet that will tell. It's in that, and that's what I've done is I took and made each one that Excel sheet. And it tells what the deputies are, the investigators, the sergeants. So that gives their salaries right there. And I took it off the base and I did it in the formulas, to get Medicare, Medicaid. And I really did health insurance, I had a lot higher, but we wasn't using it all, so I cut it back down. But that's where all those numbers come from. Overtime, well, that doesn't matter because that's over. Some of the salaries, he might have increased some already.
He increased them over the sick rates.
Well, it was wrong to begin with on the thing. So there was a few of them that were wrong, and we went to put them in, because I personally went in and checked every salary, and I would find when it was in the computer, it would be more than what we had was on. So from now on, I won't just send some, that's sent directly to you from them, I think. And it wasn't updated. So that is part of it. But I mean, the best way is what I did is I took deputy, I added all that up. And that's where you get your total then. Investigator, captain, sergeant. Like I said, we didn't even have Joy Grindstaff on that last one. Marie even noticed that.
Yeah, I told her, I said, she's not even on the spreadsheet. Surely she put on at the last meeting or.
And she lied.
Yeah.
She did give us.
On the part-time down there towards the bottom of that Excel, is that all three part-time together added up being that 50-some thousand, or is that one? Because I know a couple of part-time didn't have that and one part-time did, so I don't know if you added all three of those up together and made that.
Overtime should be overtime in each one, I would think.
No part-time.
Oh, part-time. Right, I thought so. See, there's part-time in the jail and in workhouse.
This is sheriff, under the sheriff department.
Sheriff Department doesn't have any part-time, does it? It's all full.
Okay.
Well, he does have, isn't that getting paid on Friday, is she part-time? And, all the rest, Mike Harris.
It's right here.
Oh, yeah, those are.
Yes.
Those
So
are.
all those are added together, is that what I'm saying?
Correct.
Okay. I was making sure.
What are they under on the food?
They're at the very bottom, he's right. Like Charles Irwin, Mike Harris, Arthur Metcalf, Caitlin Grindstaff are all part-time. And
So
that's,
where are they in the line item, which line item are they following?
it's that number that's on the left. Like
189.
Caitlin's 189, Arthur's 189, Mike's 189, all of them are 189.
Those salaries.
And that is exactly what we did last year, I'm pretty sure, isn't it? For part-time.
So all the deputies and the investigator, as Matt said, there's still probably an increase in there. Did it actually go up that much, the salaries?
I don't know. I mean, I should have brought me a calculator.
I don't know.
That photo you got there, Aaron, highlighted in green, 29,818, is that?
That's the total of the salary increases.
And that's due to what we passed last year, right?
Well, you really can't go totally by what you pass, but yeah.
So if you look at it, you add the $35,000 SRO into it. Plus the fact that total of 29,818 is actually less.
And the number on the left is what we did last year, 1,074,203.
Mm-hmm.
And then the number over here is what's this year added at, 1,100,000. So like you said, the difference is 29,000.
If you take the SRO out of it,
It's right.
He's budgeting less than a little bit less.
But that money comes back.
SRO,
SRO money comes back.
it's 35,000 for SRO. So, it comes out of deputy line item.
Yes.
And I calculated what we budgeted last year and what we proposed this year was $44,000.
44, which 41 of it's Joy. Well, hers, but hers might have been in the budget. Though, even though it wasn't in this.
Right, it would have been, yeah, just wasn't on the Excel sheet.
Right. So it's over 41 after you take the 35?
No, it's total, total was 44,778 from what we budgeted.
In debit. But see, I did it as a total. I didn't do it as I took it from here. Well, this is what they're making now. I can't make them less.
No.
I mean, than 20.
So you just updated it and it reflects reality of what it is, it's not.
Correct.
And there's no other raises in there besides the set raises. He didn't increase any of those.
We'd have to ask. And he's all the time sending stuff into Gina, but I don't know, you know, where they move stuff around.
He can't increase unless we give him approval, can he? Unless he moves money. But
That was the agreement.
so the 29,000, we know where that's coming from. It's from the step raises. The big question is the jailers from 10 to 12.
That's what he's asking for on this one.
Right.
And that's not even, it's the.
No, no, they didn't.
Well, what do you think? I'll look at it, talk to Joey, and I know it's getting back, but at least we're checking.
I think it needs to be updated.
Okay, all right, I'll do it. I'll just go in and look at each salary and then see what the difference is from last year. I'll do it now.
Thank you.
Is that the only one that increased that much, or you thought all of them increased a little bit?
Sergeants. Captain's not very much. Investigators.
That's the three I circled, was deputies, investigators, and sergeants.
So their salaries and wages, I mean, they all increase a little.
And if you look in your thing, that's even not what they requested. They requested more than that. If you look at it, yeah. All right, I'll check on all of those.
Do you want to look into
Still
it?
me?
Absolutely.
Public safety, 54,900, dash 148. You know, that's, dispatch, I don't know if there's any explanation, we had a pretty big increase there. 51,000, 15%,
5490, what?
dash 148.
Okay, thank you.
Last year, they gave a 5% raise. And, I didn't put it in the budget. Last year, we are charging them for that. I'm probably gonna have to ask for money from the general fund, because they're at 94% to make up that difference. Their salaries were, like I had his at 44 something and all the dispatchers, and they gave them that raise, and I guess for some reason I didn't go back and change it when they gave,
That's
We-
the board, their board.
and we've been making 911 pay that 5%
Okay.
raise, because that's different.
What is our responsibility? as far as funded 911. I know that's kind of jointly funded. So what's our portion supposed to be? What's the?
Well, I have an Excel sheet and Bill's been going through it. And so as of now, with the first, we pay for the director and one dispatcher. They do. And this is how I figured. Then they pay 50% of all the rest.
We pay the dispatcher and the director.
We pay them out of this whole budget pays all the whole thing. And quarterly, I bill them.
Okay. So our portion is the director and one dispatcher.
No, theirs is.
Theirs.
So ours would be the half of all the rest, part-time and that. But that ends up, if you look at that, and I think I wrote it in the other one, it's right at 595, but they're paying us like 311, so we're paying about half.
And that's their medical insurance, all that.
Is in that. And I don't like that. Do you see how I have holiday pay is on top of their salaries? And I didn't know that last year either. I found that out by accident. And I asked Bill and he said that's the way they've always done it. So that 1460, which I give that to them to pay back, but still the county is really picking up about half of that. And the count, like Unicoi's paying sometimes, and then Irwin pays some, but that goes to 911, not to us. I think it's something we need to look at, and Bub and I are gonna look at.
Recently, $1 million. No, sir.
I don't think it's close to that. I don't remember off the top of my head the last time we had a meeting, but they did, and they bought new consoles instead of this year. Spent over $100,000 for that, so they're replacing their equipment and stuff. So, but I don't know what their surplus is without just checking.
And they did give us 10,000 on the gate. We did get that 10,000.
It'd be worth looking at, but unless we're required by some state law that I don't know about, it'd be worth looking at and seeing if they could possibly increase their portion. Since I help you reserve,
Well, the goal is to get them independent.
help us a lot.
They really should be like the ambulance
Right.
service, under their own
Under
owner.
their own, you know.
Nothing else to do on that day.
Can we save you for a minute?
Yeah.
All right, anyone else who would like to, before Lauren unloads, anyone else have any other suggestions, line items that they identified? Hearing none. Lauren?
Mine's gonna be kind of easy to follow, so if you just turn to the first page, and the expenditures, and the three column budget. And about line in order. Amen. You want that one? First budget is the county commission budget. 51100-332, legal notices, all that stuff. I was suggesting that we cut $1,000 off that.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. We went over
We
this year.
spent, it got cut $1,000 and we spent 2,400, 2,500, for the last 3 years. So
Okay.
that's why we put that back.
Fine.
And we've already had to move money this year to cover, and we're not done with the year end, so.
And special call meetings, that kind of thing, very adds into the cost.
And it's went up.
Yes.
I'm open for discussion.
Okay.
Next one is 51,300, it's mayor's budget, dash 169, part-time personnel. Is there a way that we can, was that originally for Patty, when she was filling it now?
Well, it was, I think they always had a little bit, but I have to have hip surgery. So we might have to pull a little bit. We are gonna try to get me a computer to do it remote some. Hopefully can go back in 2 to 3 weeks. I was walking in 4, but in September I do have to
I
have.
remember, did we not put a little bit, we put a little bit in there, 2,000 in there when Greg was here to work toward getting him an additional part-time. Remember us doing that? That's where that came from, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we did. So we just put it there,
2,500 in there.
just to add,
We spent that last year. Phyllis come back and, or this current budget year, she come back and helped us close out year end. And with Karen's surgery and Gina's having surgery here in just a few weeks, you know, we felt like that was justifiable to leave that in. I mean, if you want to cut it by $1,000, if I run out, you know, I'll come back and ask y'all for money.
$1,000 a group.
Is everybody okay with cutting it for 1,000?
Right.
Yeah, I am.
All right, thank you.
well, if you need it, just come back.
Next one is line 307 for communication. That's been about $24,000 or $5,000 past 3 years. So we cut that 5,000. What is that?
We had to up it.
It's up to 500.
Yeah, I think we'd already cut it to 55, making it down there. I think we had to go over this year. We went over,
So it's 55 and not 6,000.
right.
So that's a $500 cut. And next budget is county attorney, 51,400, dash 101. Leave that.
I did increase that a few years ago. The prior commission, I was talking to the county attorney, and supposed to have been raised to 30. They did half the first year and never did the other half. So I did tell him I was going to include it this year, plus the amount of legal duties that he's had currently, especially with all the ambulance work. I thought very justifiable if you get an attorney with this experience in county government. It costs $300-400 an hour if you didn't pay by the hour. So, but you know, that's, I did include raise that to the 30.
Next is, register fees, 51,600, dash 169, part-time personnel. Got that 4,000 out.
You want to take it all out?
So saying no part-time personnel?
Correct.
But
She's always
To
had it.
be fair, the mayor keeps saying, deputy keeps saying, Teresa was asking for some.
But,
Those add up.
yeah, but how long's that part-time been there? Do we know? I mean, is that a part-time she's had for years?
She has a little bit of part-time. $3,390 so far this year. She used a little bit, you know.
I believe that one.
Did you say she's the only one part-time personnel?
No, she's, Mary's part-time, $2,500 part-time. Eddie has part-time.
Teresa Simmons.
Teresa
Simile has part-time. Paul did have part-time, he didn't have any this year.
He already asked. If you give it, he's already asked.
Mitzi has part-time.
Mitzi has part-time.
Does she pay that out of her reserves?
That's
Some
what.
of that's what
Mitzi's actually online right now if you would like for her to respond to
Well,
that.
let's get done with this first.
Okay.
Mitzi, can we cut your part-time?
She's still muted.
All in favor, say aye.
Silence is accepted.
Silence is accepted.
Let's continue through the register of deeds and then we'll, so your
recommendation is to
cut her part-time personnel completely? What's everybody's opinion on that?
I don't agree.
I don't think so, unless we do.
That's the drive-through person, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Not registered.
Oh, registered deeds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So this,
If that's part-time in her office, I think it's already cut every.
all right,
So that's
so,
what I'm saying. If you don't-
yeah, I would. Now, this is, person's already been hired.
Yeah, she worked for a long time.
So.
Hold on, Ms.
Since it's not cut at part-time. So, next one is, line 355 in that same budget. Travel. 1,000.
Which line is that?
355.
Same budget. Register of deeds.
Let's see.
600 dash 355.
We did that.
What'd she use, 1,400?
So what do you want to cut it to?
Cut it to 2,500, cut it 1,000 off.
Okay.
Okay. Next budget is the county buildings budget. Mayor made it, that's fine. Line 335.
I'll give you a plug here. And then,
Line 335, making some repairs, this is the building. You got 40,000 in there, but you was using the grant money for the elevator. I don't know how much of that could be done. I was suggesting 15,000 out of it.
no way.
No,
We got maybe $5,000 left to go another 6 weeks. And if I have one major thing with the heat and air, last year, we spent a full amount. The elevator, fixing the elevator, will help us from, we're having here 4 or 5 times in 4 or 5 weeks, and it's $500 every time they come. But, so that's why we're trying to take care of the elevator. But, I mean, I wouldn't suggest cutting it $15,000. If you want to cut $5,000, I run out, I'm still going to get the building fixed.
I understand.
There's just.
And on that subject, how is the heating and air conditioning working now? I know last year you all had some problems.
He does.
We had issues, but,
What line are you on, by the way?
They just did a repair maybe a month ago.
335, thanks.
I'm sorry.
That's the original unit, is that the original unit?
Sorry, I was chatting with Mitzi too, so. There you go. Okay.
They were the chill.
We're coming to you, Mitzi. We'll be here in a second.
So,
He asked him though, and he said that we probably didn't buy anything that would be.
It would be, I checked to see if we can just replace the system. It's not, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. The way they talk to replace the whole system for this size building. So as long as it's working, I guess we try to keep it maintained. We have a yearly maintenance. Initially, I think 15,000 of that budget is for routine maintenance on the heater. So while it's 40,000, 15 is the routine maintenance. There's really only 25 for anything that tears up in this building. So, and it is an overbill, if y'all will know.
Yeah.
is there a rate cut 5,000 in there?
Nope,
No?
I'm not for it. I'm not for it.
I'm fine with 5, but 15, you know, I'd be cutting back in 6 months.
We can cut 5 if we need to, go back in anyway.
Well, it's on you.
Are you good with that? Are you good with that 5,000? Okay. We'll take it down to 35.
If you'll notice, I actually had I raised that $5,000, and I went back after I saw a shortfall and put it back. My budget that I submitted is virtually exactly the same, other than just the pay mandatory and the mandated, raises.
I was just hoping that the grant money you got, you were gonna put towards getting elevator fixed would help.
Yeah.
Help us not have to spend that full 40.
Most of the repairs is plumbing and electrical and the heat air. So, and of course, the elevator. If we get the elevator fixed, we might save, legitimately, we might save $3,000 a year, so.
Our office has to be rewired too. I've got, you should see how our computers can run. Wait, I need to come back.
Is that on the dock, is it there?
Yeah, we already talked to him.
The next two I've got is kind of right next to each other, is the line 434 and 452, and that's the gas utilities. So far through May, we have spent, a little over $45,000. We've got budgeted 15,000 for gas, 40,000 for utilities. I'm wondering if we could cut, the gas 5,000 and the utilities about 3,000. Is that too close?
I think your natural gas is, if we're at 12 now, you still got at least 2 months. You pay 12 months, so I don't know if we paid 11 or 12.
Okay, we can leave the gas on. Because the utilities, we be able to drop a couple thousand off that one. Leave it alone.
What we paid on utilities right now?
33,000.
And our rent is through May. Right, we're right at 33.
I say we do.
Because we're gonna
We've
have.
got what, June, July?
I was gonna say, I don't think I get to count your vote on this, I'm
We
sorry.
can't cut the utilities.
All right, we'll skip those two. Next one, 519, 000, administration. 348, postal charges. That's something we could cut a little bit or not?
Well, I had to increase it. I had to move money in it just,
Did you? Okay.
I moved it last time.
All right.
I did find you some money though, excess risk insurance, we never paid. We never even had to pay that. So I did find you some. Believe it or not. I put it in postage, so, right? That's what I.
You put it in postage.
Our building and contents insurance, Bubba talked to him right before I left, and he thought it might be a tad lower, but I haven't gotten the figures yet.
That was, workers' comp.
Workers' comp.
Workers'
yeah.
comp.
Yeah, workers' comp.
Next is
I've got that.
property assessors, on 52300 -189. That $10,000 is in there, that's a 10,000 increase we're asking for part-time?
Yes.
That's a request for part-time.
That's a new part-time.
That's a new request.
Yes.
Thoughts?
The number.
10,000.
I'm not for any new part-time or any other increases.
52300 -189.
I say cut it.
Thoughts? Anybody else?
I'd rather leave it in there, but
If we do that, we have to leave it for everybody.
we already are.
No, this is new.
I know this is
For busier years.
This is new, so we're gonna do that. and we got-
She used to have a part-time, and she took it out to give the girls some,
Increase.
increase, I think. And, now she's asking for it back.
The only thing about asking for new monies, in my opinion, is the pricey. You got the school system cutting 7 certified teachers. And it's how are we
It's
going
hard to add new or.
If it was, if the economy had continued the way it was, yeah, I think we probably could.
I say we cut it and like we usually we look at the
So this ain't the existing part.
No, this is new dollars.
I mean, anything new, I'm not really.
Next one is,
Okay.
same budget. What did we cut this?
Yeah, the consensus, not unanimous, but the consensus was to remove.
Next is, same budget. Line 317. Processing services. I was going to suggest cutting that 2,000. But that maybe,
Well, she had 10,000 last year, right?
yeah, but
And she spent 7,200 so far.
I'm not really that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't know that I wouldn't.
Okay.
Okay, next is, the county clerk's office.
And Mitzi is on.
52,500 dash 169. I done talked about that, but the part-time. Matt brought that up a while ago.
Mitzi, I was like, Mitzi, if you're on, can you give us some information as it relates to that particular item? So,
Can you hear me?
yep, we got you.
Okay. What was the question?
Mitzi, you had asked for $32,000 in your part-time personnel line item. We were wondering how much of that you were going to fund out of your reserve.
Okay, as of right now, when I proposed my budget and then you all did my budget amendment to do the office, because of the COVID-19, for me to use the reserve money from there. And I'm giving $12,000 right now out of the reserve. As of right now, I've got a little bit in my reserve left over. So when my reserves start coming back in, what I'll do is I'll start putting that money back into those line items like I've covered each year. So I'll do budget amendments to you all covering those line items.
Do you have 2 part-time people?
I do. I have one in the drive-through that runs the drive-through, and then one that does driver's license. And the one that does driver's license right now, she's on maternity leave. So there'll be some money left over in that line item that will go back into my reserve. But I'll have to get with Karen to see how much there is there in order to give you all back more money. Because I always give back the reserve money to you all.
We appreciate that.
I was wondering, this year, you're not even running the drive-through, correct?
I'm sorry, Lauren, I couldn't hear you.
You're not operating the drive-through currently, right?
No, the drive-through is open. We've served over 100 people each day through the drive-through. The drive-through is open and operating.
Can we con you into agreeing to cut your part-time personnel any at all?
No, because I'm getting ready to, I talked to the mayor, I'm getting ready to open driver's license back up. I mean, if you cut part-time, I need that part-time in for the driver's license and the part-time for the drive-through. If you're going to cut that, then I'm going to be cutting revenues because I'm going to have to cut back services because I don't have enough people to cover everything. But I'm going to give you all back the money. It's not going to show, how the revenues, the reserve account, Karen can explain that. It doesn't show on your fund balance, but I'll be giving it back to you. Karen can explain that better than I can, how the revenue, the reserve account shows.
Yeah,
Matt's got a good question.
okay.
if she's gonna cover it, if she's gonna reimburse it, do we actually need to up the budget and show it?
You have to show it in there, is what the auditors have always said, if I'm right, Karen, correct? But I'll be doing budget amendments to cover that stuff.
We just, in the past, we just kind of calculated and knew in our heads that we had that much more coming out of the budget. But she can't show on the revenue side to balance that.
Leave it alone. Okay, Mitzi, next question is for your, communication. You had budgeted 3869 last year and then 6600 this year.
Yeah, that's not what was budgeted, that's what was spent.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I think, hold on just a second. If I'm correct, let me grab my budget.
It's on the screen, Mitzi, if you've got your screen.
Yeah, I took, if I'm not mistaken, I even dropped, Karen and I had got together because I dropped.
She dropped it 2,000.
Yeah, I dropped it 2,000 and put it into my office equipment because I needed it there.
Are you gonna spend the full $6,600 or close to it?
Well, now my communications is, I mean, that's my internet connection to the state of Tennessee for me to operate my office. Do I need it? Do you want me to do titles and registrations?
Yeah, I know you need it, but how much is it a year?
I think
It shows 3546 being spent so far this year.
Mitzi, I think the question is the last year's budget was 3869. This year to date is 3546, and the request is 6600. So I think the question really is, where is the discrepancy? If it's neat.
Okay. Do you want to cut it 1,000?
2,000.
That's my phones, that's my internet connections. I mean,
In the past 2 years. I'm suggesting cutting it down to 46, and that would still leave her.
what if we cut it down to 5?
For the increase. What's the purpose for the increase?
I've got Glenn's mic muted. His question is, what's the purpose for the increase? I guess is his question.
I didn't increase my communication.
I'm just going on, what you've actually spent the past 2 years.
Is that correct, Steve?
So Mitzi, I don't know if you can see the screen right now, but what we see on the screen is line item 52500-307 communications. Your last year's budgeted amount was 3869. The actuals was 3546 for this year to this point. And then the requested was 6600 for the next fiscal year. And I think that the question that's being asked is,
Why is it? Well, that's a good question.
I guess the question is,
Okay, so you're wanting to cut it, say 2,000, Lauren, is that what you're asking?
It's down to 4,600.
Okay, and if I need to take money out of my reserve, to put it in there to cover something, I can do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And some of that sort of misleading because she puts, for us, it's confusing because she's putting that money in from the reserves and it looks like that she's spent more.
It does. It doubles the amount when I put.
Okay, and Mitzi, the next question is line 337.
maintenance and repair.
Maintenance and repair, for the office. You got one for the building and one for the office.
Okay,
Now, what is that generally for? And did the upgrade
the 307.
337?
It's 335 and 337 are the question.
Okay, the 335, the maintenance and repair, that's on the drive-through. That's the rent that I pay on the drive-through to Mountain Commerce Bank.
That's fine. What about 337?
And then 337.
Okay, that's maintenance and repair in my office.
And I think
And I'm
more,
and what are you all showing? Let me look on the screen. What are you all showing?
18,000 is the request for this year.
Okay, correct. And that is also my maintenance agreement with BIS for the operations of the computer systems with Department of Revenue, Department of Safety. That's for me to function my office. Actually, that $18,000 also covers my maintenance agreement with my copy machine. And if I pay it before July 31st, it comes down, but it covers enough for my maintenance agreement with my copy machine. So actually my maintenance agreement with BIS is actually 19,000 and some dollars, but with me paying it before the end of July, I'll be able to cover my maintenance agreement with my copy machine. So actually it's under budgeted by me paying the bills beforehand, if it makes sense to you.
One more question, and I'll leave you alone. Line 435, office supplies. You've only spent $2,023 as of the end of May. We got 3,500 budgeted. Could we cut that down to 2,500? Got 1,000 out of it.
You can, I mean, if $1,000 will help you, that's fine. I'll take money out of reserve and put it back in there.
Okay.
If $1,000 will balance your budget, that's fine.
That's not gonna balance my budget.
Not even close.
I know. Hey, I do have a question for you all.
Yes.
On the revenue side, I had talking to the mayor about it. On your first page, if you'll go to 101 402 70 business tax.
Yep.
Okay. Can you see that indiscrepancy there? What do you all see? Something's wrong. Because I've looked at that already for this year. And we've already brought in $59,000. Bubba, did you find out anything else on that?
Not yet.
He said no.
Because last year it's showing $15,000 and that can't be right. And then this year you're budgeting $51,000. And when I got with the trustee's office, we're showing $59,000 already in there. And then I got our FFA payment from the state just the other day that had came in for business tax, and it was $20,000. So, I mean, that might be more revenue right there that you all may want to look at.
We can bump that up to 64,000. If you got 59 through the end of May.
Right, is what the trustee's office is showing. See, when they collect the business tax, it goes to the trustee's office. The state of Tennessee sends a check to them, and they're already showing $59,000 over there.
Some of that could be last year's, put as a receivable.
The 59,000, we're looking at current when I went over there.
But even if she shows current, sometimes it shows for me as last year.
No, she went by what came in each month this year. We sat there with the calculator and went by through it.
So
because I knew that was a discrepancy in business tax. When I seen Stephen had put this up on the screen the other night, and when I seen that $15,000 from last year, I knew that was incorrect. And then when I seen 51,000 for this year, that's when I went and looked to see how much had been brought in. And so far it's 59,000 that's been brought in this year. Plus I contacted the state of Tennessee, and revenues are coming in as far as with business tax. And they said that the small companies are paying right now because they're getting their tax relief for their, how they're getting their grant money and stuff. But the bigger companies have not been paying yet because they have a extension until July the 19th for business tax. So that figure right there on the $51,000, I think it's going to be a lot more if y'all want to up it to help you on the revenue side.
We'll say.
Yeah, I'll totally check that.
Okay.
We can, let's table that until Thursday, until we have some confirmation. But that may be an area where we can maybe find $10,000, $15,000 to increase our revenue side.
Thank you, Mitzi. Thank you, Mitzi.
Thank you, Mitzi.
You're welcome. Good morning, everybody.
I'm going to mute you. If you have anything else, just chat with me and I will unmute you, okay?
I'm fine unless y'all have any more questions, okay?
Anybody got anything else for Mitzi? Thanks, Mitzi.
Thank you, guys.
All right. To continue.
Okay, Sheriff's budget.
We were bouncing right here. And that, hey, some of these. Where's that top? 54,110. Start with, the overtime pay. I was going to suggest cutting 5,000 there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next is line 307. Communication. I don't know why that's in the back now. Maybe that's something we should have done, but I was going to suggest 2,000. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
2,000.
Yeah.
So 18,712.
Next is line 355, travel.
Wait a minute, go back to communication so I get it.
We took 2,000 off.
307.
307.
Lauren is proposing 18,712.
Okay.
Any dissension? Okay. Continue.
Next is line 355, travel. Two. Three.
How much this year?
I'd say two.
Two.
Line
Do I have a 3 suggestion over here?
I think that's what Matt suggested was 3.
Well, they spent
They go on training
4,000.
stock. I mean, they have to do training.
Let's go 2.
I think two's, they had people quit, whatever you want to say for that. Next is line 425 for gasoline. My proposed cut here may sound excessive, but I'm trying to figure based on current prices and what I think prices will stay at or stay around. We got in there 88,000. And I'm proposing to cut that down to 80. $8,000 cut.
Thoughts, comments, thoughts?
Question, Karen, you've got on that particular line on the new printout, you've got 20,000 and you've got 68,000.
Because we only did 20 last year. Because we moved money into it. We
That was
probably
the
moved
sales.
money.
He sold equipment.
Surplus sales.
So,
What was the total on that surplus last year, do you know?
I do not know. He sold a few more. So
It's
hopefully.
supposed to be trying to go up around 88,000.
so did it all go into the gasoline line? All the stuff he sold?
I make a suggestion, I think you need to leave the gas.
Yeah.
Things, gas is already up almost, 70-some cents. The last time I bought was, if I could just kept buying 65 cents a gallon, it's already coming up. I think better even negotiate that gas price.
And he doesn't have anything else to sell. I mean, they pretty much, they literally walked everything they said that day. with this
That
last-
one system, they've got that.
Oh, yeah, got that.
I know they have to have it, I mean, they were to run out.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Oh, we're in the bag.
If it started put back in, that, you know, that's what
We
we're
have to get
seeing.
it for gas.
I was just looking, you know, they have spent 75,874 through the NMA, and if you buy that by 11.
That's not through the end of May. There's
Through
still
the April.
two bills to be paid.
Yeah.
One to be paid, and it's run, ones I've seen runs from anywhere from 5,000 to 6,500. So if you're looking at 86,000, 87,000, probably that will be spent this year. And it's been low here in the last month, a few months.
So I'm hearing a couple of conflicts. Let's leave it. Let's remove some of it.
I'll make a recommendation, we leave it. Leave it.
Got two leave it's. Anybody against?
Okay, next is, the jail budget.
What about, item number 716, law enforcement equipment?
I don't know what equipment that is, but is that something there that we could look at covering grant money?
Did we not buy all that?
I don't know what, that 3,000, the 22 was spent, I think it was when they got their desks and
Gas and
stuff,
all like that.
and they got the grant for that, so. And I'm sure there's routine stuff that they have to buy.
Yeah.
It'd be hard.
Uniforms and stuff like that.
Oh, there's a uniform. on it.
335.
If he has specific items he needs, like the communication equipment and law enforcement equipment, it might be something that we could use grant money for if we know specifically what his needs are.
And that would save us 8,000. We've got some padding left in that budget line.
$1,000 out of each, or just one?
Do it.
$1,000 out of each line item?
So I'm hearing three things: leave it, cut it all, and then 1,000 of each line. So somebody give us a middle ground here or something.
I say 0 this year and you include whatever these are on the grant list. Pick it up next year.
I would at least look into what his needs are. And see,
It-
come back on that one.
So we're going
Is that
0?
something that grant
Now, we know what his needs are gonna be every time he can get, but
But it's $8,000 between those two line items, and the grant certainly is for that kind of
About
stuff,
100,000.
so it's for public safety, and if it can come up with that, if the 8,000 can be covered with grant money, then we can lock those two line items to 0.
I would be in agreement if we knew what those items were. So I think that's the question that we need to ask: is what are those
Skip
items?
those for now.
Find out what they are.
If I made law enforcement supplies add on 131, that be included in that question.
yes.
Sure, too.
Yeah.
There's another for that.
Which one is that?
431.
431, 54110, 431.
They're gonna be more detailed.
And I'm sure there are things that come up that are unpredictable,
Correct.
and you probably need the line items to cover
Let me ask the mayor a question. Mayor, did you hear back concerning the ability to submit multiple grant applications for this?
Yes.
And we are able to?
We can pass multiple resolutions, but if these are items he's paying $100 for, it's not gonna be a credit card. You know, it's for one-time expenditures. Now, if it's something that he can buy, he buys a certain amount of for the whole year, and he can purchase one-time PO or something, I can see that. But yes, the way I'm looking at it is there are things that we need to get it done immediately, that we, like Mr. Berry's office, some of the other items we know, pretty much know we're going to do and need to do right away. I made a capital resolution for you on this June meeting, just for those immediate things that we can take care of.
If he comes, say we cut him out, he comes up, he needs $5,500 worth of stuff. Will that come before the commission before you okay it?
It never have to be a resolution, because the commission has to vote on how it goes. You guys have, the resolution has to come before the commission.
And I think we have 546 that you've identified so far in dollars on that grant. And I think there's 636.
Well, at least about 9.
Yeah, it's about.
What about also there is other charges? I don't know, that might be a miscellaneous thing too. That would be another thing to check to see if he does specific need for that.
And he's.
Just ask him what other charges need.
And that's something that can be taken.
Who's going to ask?
Or Karen.
Who's going to ask for?
Karen's writing it down.
Next is, the bill budget, 54-210. 335. Is that already been cut down to 17 from 25?
No, 17 is what we budgeted.
17 was the original budget.
Okay.
And he spent 32.
It's been 37 so far.
We had some
Air conditioning stuff.
major issues there coming on. Slams wasn't working.
So we got all that fixed, correct?
Technically.
So.
Some of it's been fixed, yeah.
Well, now, a lot of it.
This building stuff should actually be grant.
That's on that grant,
Right.
it's some of that. On that grant.
I think on the grant list I gave you, I put 25,000. That work you're talking about, that we approved $20,000 for, to my knowledge, had to be completed because it had to be bid. And, the amount of the maintenance agreement on the equipment that he was buying put the bid price over the required bidding amount. So then COVID hit and everything just kind of got put on hold. So I put $25,000 in out of grant funds to take care of that money that would have come out of the general fund this year and hadn't been done. So that was, I mean, of course, you guys would have to approve it also. If there is 25,000.
Well, he's not gonna get that 20 we approved now.
Well, he can't, it works on it, when get it done. It's not been out, I mean, I haven't bid it, so it's not, I haven't seen anything.
We haven't officially moved the money over, I don't think.
So we should be able, a lot of that should be included in that grant, so we should be able to take this back one time, like for this year.
My suggestion is to cut on 335, 5,000.
Thoughts?
Yes.
Okay.
Next line, 236. Maintenance and repair services for equipment.
Yeah.
Next is 452.
Cut anything out?
452 utilities. This one I had a question about, because there's 40,000 inside of it.
40 was last year's.
That's what we budgeted last year, correct?
Correct.
We've already spent 38.
Could we cut 5 or 8,000?
Maybe 5.
Maybe 5?
Five. Look, I'm sure. Five, all right, so be it. Five, I made about five people.
Awesome.
Did you say we've got a penny? Good.
Next is, workhouse. 54.
Oh, hold on a
I
second.
have one policy on
Go for it. Yeah, please.
Go back to the travel line, 365. It shows currently it's 2,000 and the request is for 4,000.
That's because all of our corrections officers has to go to the training that they haven't been going to before. It's required.
Okay. Anybody else? Let me pause for a second. Anybody else in the jail?
Okay, workhouse, 54,220, line 338. And it's repair vehicles. Bucks. $1,000.
1,000.
Okay.
Should be another tile. Okay, what?
1,000.
Yeah. 338.
338.
Okay.
Next is line 340. Is that medical and dental services, is that what we pay for the inmates?
Yeah, that's inmate.
28, is that current or do we still have bills maybe that haven't?
I'm sure that.
We can copy.
There's still bills out.
I'd leave that one.
Leave it alone.
Okay.
We tried to make
That's
those
such
more in
a,
line.
that's such a volatile roller coaster. Once the year's over, then
We can
for
reconcile.
next year.
Right.
Next is, 85, 120. Animal shelter.
All right.
This is, I have questions here.
Okay.
This budget just keeps growing every year. I know they have their own board. And we're supposed to be in agreement to fund a third, which Unicoi and Irwin. But the budget just keeps growing.
Are you on line item 189?
No.
Just the whole 5512.
Just the whole thing?
The whole 55.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Budget.
So you're 322,000.
Now, I do have the income from, Unicoi and for, our town of Irwin is offsetting. It's in the budget to offset.
Do we pay the balance of that then? Whatever?
Yes.
Are all three entities split this equally?
No,
No.
The formula.
it's a formula. So we're not gonna pay them, we're not gonna pay them 183, right? Because of the,
Right, we don't pay the full.
or what do we pay?
I don't know what our portion is. But I know there's, I was thinking we did pay.
I think our contribution has been the same, if I'm not mistaken. They set a budget and kind of Earl pays so much, and we pay so much, we pay so much. If they spend more than that, we paid, and then they last 2 years, they write us a check for whatever the shortfall is. Right there. They pay the shortfall, they spend more than.
I think ours is like 29,000. I have to see notes and it's in my other folder.
So the question, I guess, is the contribution then. Are we going to increase or decrease the contribution, not necessarily their budget? Is that correct?
And if you look at it, like, the other salary and wages has really changed this year, the way it was in the past.
They add any more?
They did, they added a person, I think. Because
They actually had 2 full-time people, and at one time, they cut that, one full-time person left. So they hired 2 part-time people, and to save benefits.
Right.
And that's what they were doing. And then kind of Unicoi didn't feel like there was enough attention being paid, out there. And the memorandum of understanding says that there will be 2 full-time, animal control officers. So since then, they hired maybe the other person, animal control, to back to full-time, which costs salary benefits. There's some differences. You'll notice the difference in budget and what's been spent on the line.
So that's the increase of 14,000. Right in.
It costs more to have 2 full-time people because you gotta pay benefits.
Right.
And then you have a part-time person saving benefits and 2 part-time people. So, but, you know, it is different kind. They do reimburse us for whatever the shortfall is. We can check and tell you what our contribution's been in the last 2 years on Thursday.
It's 29, something.
I think it's 20.
I'll leave it alone.
That's in a different folder.
But Lauren, you may be exactly correct, the total budget, maybe you have gone up, you know.
But our contribution has.
But is our contribution has. And we do have a memorandum of understanding on that one where 3 government entities participate, so.
I think it's something we need to look at.
Sure.
All right, more information. So next will be almost 58,120. Line 316.
And he said it's the same, he's always requested that 115, but we've only paid the 65.
And that's all we're gonna pay, right? And it's a 65.
It's up to this body and the full commission.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Do we leave it at the 65 annual contribution? Do we increase?
I'd leave it.
There's, and 115 is always requested, is using the funding formula that's in the statute. So that's what the state, our board was established way prior to when that statute was passed. So by paying 65 that we're contributing, and our board been established after the law, that's the amount we will be required. And so by paying 65, you know, it is substantially less than what would be required if our board come along after that law was passed. I do think we've got some pretty substantial announcements going to be coming forward in the next couple of weeks that so, you know, I'd be in favor of leaving alone personally. I don't think that's a recommendation.
Anyone have any objections? Okay.
Prepare the budget, 58,600. 205.
That's our insurance. And workman's comp. And he said that might be a little bit lower.
There are a couple, 3,000, help out in the school.
He gave, Karen's on vacation, he come in. I think his first week, he probably got, I think it's still, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I think what we spent 13.2, it could probably cut at 13.5. I think it's first the same. Then when they come in and do the audit, you find out whether you pay, you know, whether they owe you credit or whatever. So, you know, it's $1,500 if you want to cut it down.
I was just going to suggest cutting out fast.
Well, I think it's going to be, I think the figure you gave was around 13.5, if I'm not mistaken.
1,000 on that.
That 1,000 should be
But
clear.
the one right above that line, 205.
And that's,
Is that one, Karen, you said that was going to be lower?
That's where people are paying their insurance to. And they write us a check for what their insurance, and then we pay it out in that line. Isn't that what that is?
we shouldn't have to pay them for it if it's that. But I was thinking that too. Let me check.
I was going to suggest taking 2,000.
And we did 9
That
last
concludes
time.
my
Does that conclude your report? Just a second.
We've actually paid out though. 6,000, but if they paid it back, like he said, that's probably a wash.
That, you think those two lines are just a wash?
Well, workman's comp isn't, but I think that is. So you wanted to cut it, how much? We'll cut it, I think.
1,000?
Was that 6? 6, I think 3 will be okay. If we have to add to it, we can.
How much?
3, so that'd make it at 6.
So line 205 goes down to 6?
Yes.
So you can check on it.
I'll check on it. Yeah, I'll check on it.
You have to pay to check on it.
And line 513 will go down to 14?
Huh?
And line 513 goes to 14, is that correct?
Yes.
While we're on this page, the veteran services, do we have a veteran service officer now?
No, George Hall was going to take it, and well, he's still doing what he can. But his sister got real ill. He had started taking the training. I thought he just had to take the one day training, and that's what I was told originally. And but when you're not certified, he had to go to school. He had to take 40 hours of computer training. Had to take 17 tests, make at least 80% on the test. He did all that, but there was still a 40-hour training that he has to go to Nashville for, which his sister got sick. He come to me Friday before last and said it just wasn't going to be able to do
What's your number?
So I did have another person said that was interested, but I won't wait and see. I mean, if y'all don't approve the budget, I'm not going to go with it. There's no point, not going to waste somebody's time. George has been handling the inquiries that's coming in right now, and he said he would do the current budget year, but what we've been paying is $300 a month for handling the inquiries on the current situation. But
We've got to have it, don't we? Is that what the state?
I'm not sure. I haven't called to see if it's mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
It may not be mandatory, but we have a lot of veterans here in this county that deserve. I sent a budget request. I haven't been informed formally, but I think Unicoi the town of Unicoi may include their share of this. I've sent it to the town of Harville. I don't know if they passed their budget yet or not. So this, the amount of the expenditures would be shared, similar to what, the funding formula that we do for other things based on population.
Have you talked, I've heard from a couple of people that basically said they would volunteer for that position.
Well, if you send it my way, nobody's come down to my office and offered to volunteer. No, they can volunteer, but they have to meet the requirements. They only work 1,000 hours a year, so.
If you call them a veteran service officer, they can be called a volunteer veteran service officer, they can be called a volunteer service officer, and they don't fall under that mandate. The VA has 3 people on duty most of the time. When they are working with vets in our area, they end up sending them over there or getting them over there. In the past, I think Mr. Hensley, he would help them with their paperwork, but basically they end up at the VA with their final paperwork, and they have attorneys on staff and all that, so it's a lot bigger benefit when they go to the VA and do their paperwork for whatever claim they're working towards.
Terry?
You have a service officer, he works for the government, he is a non-stop code. I think that's a car, I'm not mistaken. And I don't know if he'd be interested in filling in Unicoi County, but I know he's over there like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't know if he'd fill in here in the office, so it might be something.
And I checked, or talked to some of the people about other counties, you know, if we had a veteran service officer in an adjoining county, they could come on and today.
No, I was checking those, he knows, man, but
But that might give us some options and maybe, you know, be able to cut that budget back down, because in the past, I think the most we ever put in that budget was 5,000. And it was like $450 and $750 a year.
Well, they made him go through the VA too. He had, George had to do a full name at the VA.
Most, you know, when I talked to Mr. Hensley, he would help people fill out, get the paperwork sort of ready, but they had to actually end up going there, paperwork. But the good thing is they have attorneys on staff and they follow it all the way through if it's going to be a claim, appeal, whatever the process is.
So our local person would just be really kind of helping them and get them connected over to the VA. They're gonna do a lot of paperwork over at the VA.
So I say leave it alone unless we have a concrete volunteer to do it. When you mentioned the veterans, hey, that's done. I'm not for it.
Other thoughts?
I would just let the mayor continue seeing somebody else.
Okay. Other thoughts?
Once we have the volunteer in place, then, you know, feasible to do it right now. I mean.
It's a part.
Steve wants our new total.
So if we leave the veteran services as is currently, our new deficit total, assuming all the suggestions are amendable to everyone, 335,064 is what we currently have. We found.
You get 44.5 today.
Do it.
44.5 today.
Lauren has 51.5 as the total number.
So the new total is what?
335,064. It is not. That was going to be my next comment. The one other thing that I do want to point out is that does not include the sheriff's addendum request sheets that he provided to us. So that does not include the additional dollars that were located on that. That's simply the items that were placed into the budget.
What was his total additional request?
150.
His new dollar request or total?
The new one on the addendum.
150.
17, 12.
Oh, yeah, 150,000.
Seems like it's right at that because it's.
Hold on, let me tell you. I'll tell you in rough numbers if that's okay.
Down here, you got, yeah, last meeting was 150,085.16.
Do what?
150,085.16 cents.
155,000.
And that's not counting anything for the medical provider.
Correct.
Oh, this is,
This is from
it
this.
doesn't show, it doesn't have the medical or insurance.
No,
And it come up to be more.
Well, the building maintenance, he wanted increased to 30,000 more.
So if we were to accept the sheriff's 150,000 addition, we're talking 155,000 in new dollars, 335,064. You're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of $490,000
out of whack.
if we were to accept all of the adjustments that has been proposed.
Well, I think with all the new issues that on this spreadsheet right here, that, he talked about, the new part-time, moving the teacher from 3 to 4 days, the guards to $10 to $12. Make a full-time position, annex. I just don't see how we do it.
No.
I mean, I don't see how we do any of it.
I'll see how it's there, cut, we just cut.
I mean, I just don't, I think it's dead. I think it's DOA now, all.
Other thoughts, comments? Thoughts or comments? Anything else?
No, it's hard to take on new expenses in the climate we're in.
It's just been a tough year. I mean, it's just terrible.
So currently, if we do not adopt or change or accept any of these changes submitted by the sheriff's department, our deficit is 335,064, somewhere in that neighborhood. Outstanding questions, as the mayor mentioned at the beginning, there is some question about the office holder increases as it relates to the state budget. We'll have to wait to hear what that looks like. We may have to have discussions related around that. What else are we missing? What other items are we missing?
I'm not for it right now, just because of COVID-19 and we're, people's losing their jobs and cutting here and there. I mean, I would like to see them increased eventually, but, it seems.
The only thing I've entertained on the sheriff.
That's 40,000. That's $40,000. It wasn't.
Corrections off 10:30 to 12. I don't see anything else for it.
And so really your 335 is what we were last year. So we took, if you think about your carry that you took out of the general fund, you've got to refund that again this year.
Well, we can't take it.
Yes, so if you're looking at, you're sitting right now where you were last year.
That's right.
Just so you realize that's, so you've really not increased that much.
Just that deficit.
Come back and keep rolling.
It's a loss of revenue too, so you can't.
You really are, and you're really off more than that, because
Right.
the one-time things we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
$256,000. So,
Yeah, you're right.
And the grant funding is really helping us this year, it's been a lot worse.
It's been 256,000 more for the mayor.
We're releasing 11% tax increase right now.
Corrections officers portion, that we went from 10:30 to $12 an hour. Okay, can you clarify?
The second thing of that is you have full-time people that aren't making $12 an hour.
Right.
So it increases all of those.
So you have to bring those people up.
How many of those?
It's on that list. Let me go
Got
back.
on the
I saw it this
spreadsheet.
minute. Yeah, I had it right in front of me. I closed it, just see.
It would be 5 guards, 6 guards. 6 guards we'd have to bring up.
What she's saying is the full-time people that don't have to.
Correct. That's the 6 guard. 5 guards would have to be brought up to, yeah, so
Yeah,
something above 12.
That's where I have it
Yeah,
on there,
yeah.
bring up to $12
Yeah, so
an
there'd be
hour.
6 additional guards.
Why didn't we add them on that salary?
So that was,
Index last year.
that
Well,
was
they
the,
do, they still get the $300. Everybody this year will get the $300.
So are they on, as far as the step raises, are these people on the step raises? Well, eventually they'll get there, won't they?
Yeah, but you can't have somebody part-time making more than what your full-time are, can you?
No. Who said the part-time?
That's a big jump from 10:30 to 12, that's a huge raise at one time.
I mean, they'd be fine, they'd be down to 65 if you did that. And they talk out there, they know, because they've already been asked, what do we get, what do we get?
I mean, we've done a lot, I mean, we've funded a lot in the sheriff's budget, just those line items, that 106, 108, 111, wages. We were up 15%, 11%, 7% over last year.
Right.
And I don't know if they already were getting it or not getting it, I mean, it's.
And the step raises really helped them last year in the cars.
We've done.
And
Done, back
the limits on the mileage, we're gonna have to adhere to.
At the moment, we're looking at probably about an 11-cent tax increase, give or take. 10.1082 if we wanted to be closer to the exact one.
Anything else that can be cut?
So we'll know more about salaries for the state officers. We'll know more about that, hopefully soon, but I can't, that's all about the state budget. So we'll have to wait on the state. Business tax, there may be some dollars there we can adjust for next year. But other than that.
So what's our goal next Thursday, when we come in to get this information?
So get updates.
Get updates and see where we're at.
I would encourage everybody to continue looking through the budget, going through to see if there are items.
Thursday should be wrap it up.
Thursday, good, shouldn't it?
I don't see, there's just so much you
Yeah.
can do.
I would anticipate that we probably won't use Saturday. Probably a solid chance we may not use Friday. We'll wait and see when we get more numbers.
I'd rather use Friday, so.
Well, I would rather use Friday than Saturday too. It's awful early to get here. But I do think we'll just have to kind of wait and see at this point and kind of get some more data that we've requested.
And I'm pretty afraid that we won't get that back from the state. Or do you, how fast do you think we'll get that back? The salaries and almost all.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
I'm afraid we'll have to pass without knowing.
Yeah.
We'll just have to.
I mean, don't you agree?
No, I think we will. I mean, I think the legislature, I think the last I heard was 2 weeks on the budget.
See, that's what
So
I'm saying.
we'll be through first reading.
And that's managed, I mean, I have a list that they send me.
I mean, all I can say is they have done with the back in the juvenile.
I think we have, and every time they tell Bub and I, it's a budget. You can't amend it. That's what they tell me. Oh, yeah.
Now, only a question I had on the grant list, when we discussed it, you know,
That is something that I think should come from this committee as well. I would like for us, if we complete our work on Thursday, maybe we can use time on Thursday to have discussion surrounding this, around the proposals that we have so far. And then I agree with the mayor, I'd like to have a full resolution to the commission by the end of June. When we do our second reading of the budget, we would also pass a resolution at the same time, which would fund a lot of the things that we're removing out of the budget this year.
Well, my goal is when they get all the incomes in, she'll start running it tomorrow, Monday. Then it takes me about a day to get it in here. And so Monday I can work on putting our changes here. Then we'll have updated income and I'll try to get you another 3 column out before Thursday.
Okay.
Cause it might be late Thursday, or might have to hand it out to here. I don't know. We'll just have to see,
Okay.
depending on how fast the trustees fall, yes. She's usually pretty fast. I try to have it by the 6th, but that's a little bit earlier, so.
Supposed to be June.
I like the email version if you do get it.
In time, well, go ahead and send it, it's last minute.
Yeah, and even if it's last minute, I can put it on the laptops. And if others want to bring their laptops, we can connect to the Wi-Fi, and you can, if you having a hard time seeing the screen from your distance, you can bring a device with you.
Is Thursday's meeting at 5:30?
Yes.
The,
And she'll be able to have printouts also.
I will.
I need to get that as soon as I
I
can.
promise I'll try to work on that real diligently to get it out in time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
the June regular meeting, do we want to continue, meeting, Zoom meeting, or do we want to have an in-person meeting? I just wanted to ask you guys.
I think we need to in person. I think we need to try to
We're
get
here now, I
back,
mean, why not?
we need to try to get back to normal. Again.
It's good to see Jason. He looks like he's 21 now, this shape.
We'll have the option, if we want to.
We can keep it just like it is, with the option of Zoom. I just didn't know if the commission wanted to go back. I have to re-advertise is why I'm asking. Because I re-advertised that it would be virtual meetings until further notice. So if we want to have a regular meeting, I need to re-advertise.
I think we could do both. I mean,
The executive order from the governor allows us to do virtual for a certain period of time.
June 30th.
June 30th.
So through the rest of this fiscal year, we have to do.
Leave it the way it's been for the June meeting. And the one, or we still need to have a special call meeting then.
We'll need to do a first reading on the 8th.
Gotta make sure there's email.
And then
10 days between first and second reading.
That would give us 14, yeah.
22nd would be the regular meeting.
Right, so it would give us 2 weeks between readings.
So we're gonna do one more Zoom, 2 more Zoom commission meetings until after June 30th. Is that right?
It's up to this body.
I thought the governor said.
Well, his order is to June 3rd, which allows it, it doesn't require.
I would say do both. I'd have to give the option for both.
Like we're doing this.
Yeah, like we're doing here.
And then continue to have the public option for viewing only. Okay.
I want to make one last comment.
Yes.
The sheriff department, sheriff worked really hard this year, this past year, bringing in, correct me if I'm wrong, over $100,000 more than the 10 revenue we plan on getting. And so I don't want to send the wrong message to them with these cuts. There's the biggest need they have is the church. I really like us to reconsider that. They worked hard to bring in that extra money, and our budget depends on that revenue. And
Let's do it Thursday.
Well, maybe it's worth asking for them to give us numbers just solely on what it would look like to increase all the corrections officers to the minimum of $12 an hour, and ask them to give us that data only. So leave out everything within their request and only give us.
Just that. Wasn't it 40,000?
It's somewhere in that neighborhood.
What's it called? That's everything, right? I mean, that's the full-time, making sure they're not bringing it full-time up to 12.
Yeah, make sure that we have.
That's not making the guys that's making, the people that's making less than 12 now.
Supposed to be
It would have, in my opinion, it would have to include them too, so.
You would, I mean.
Yeah.
So all of their corrections officers to a minimum of $12 an hour. And then I would think we could consider that at least, but I don't know that this body has the ability to, not ability, but the desire to review some of the other requests that come on that sheet.
Well, it's just,
just the funding right now.
Now, people sitting wrong heads too by doing it, and what we did last year, that's a big better thing. I've been here for 4 years, I think that's great. I don't think it's a 4-year period, you're sitting wrong heads, but things are, I'm prepared to go a different way.
Those people are still on the step raises?
Well,
Yes.
part-time would. Well, if they get longevity.
Right.
If they've been here long, they get.
Well, nobody's going, nobody wants it. Nobody in this room I know wants it. There's no way out, whether we do that or we don't do it. There's gonna be a tax increase this year. I mean, it's pretty simple. And it's been 8 years, we haven't had one. I think Virginia, other county, East Tennessee, say that.
That's kind of my point. Add another cent and a half when you take care of these employees.
But we hadn't taken anything from the other officers' existing budget. We didn't take it.
Basically,
We just, what was new, we didn't take anything away from it.
Well, we took a small amount, like
Yeah,
we took
I'm
like
talking
a
about
500
personnel.
here. Yeah, no personnel, no.
Personnel.
basically
No.
what we cut today was from the correction officer, or not that much.
We'll get back to where we were.
Yeah.
380 something.
13-cent tax increase.
Then the.
Yeah, 13.
then the,
That's the minimum.
Then,
Correct.
then the question's gonna be, as far as those people that we're talking about, what is their cost of living adjustment? Do they get one? Is that just $12 gonna stay for the next 5 years? I mean, what happens? I mean, basically what I'm gonna say, I mean, I understand, when's it end? Is it everything? That's the key. I mean, like Todd said, we have done a lot.
Well, everybody in the courthouse, part-time, is making $12 an hour, I believe. That's what we're drawing. Our increase is same as some days.
Yeah, I don't think we have, the maintenance on
They're not.
it. 13. There's a few still.
Well, you know, it's a.
I'll ask you to think about
Yeah, we think.
Yeah, we can add that to our agenda.
That's a rough job, even $12 an hour, let's be serious. I certainly would not want to do that. I certainly wouldn't want my children to do that. I know more about it, the rest of it, Jason knows about it.
Doing that job depends on your mentality, it's really.
And also, you get what you pay for.
Well, you
How much you have
Well,
left.
most people want to go the road to go into that.
That's
Doesn't
it.
matter, they ain't really about to pay for that one fee increase.
Right, that's their way in.
That's why you have a higher
rate. But then a lot of people just take it, and they're not worth that.
Well, if that was true, then they would go down, up here to mountain correction, they'll go here that a lot more.
$32 an hour, that's it, what they start out.
And that's what they're career path.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to get into the.
It's just an open door.
Right.
It's just-
So it don't matter, it really don't matter what you
It's
say.
just a-
How many you had let go the last year over stupid mistakes?
I think
Really, you find some opportunity to say that.
Austin Green's a good example. He wanted to be a road deputy, and that's his way in. They paid him worked out for him. Is that where you started?
Is that where you go?
That's the reason for mine's the way it is now.
one of many reasons as to why. Terry, you have a comment?
Yes, I just want to bring this up to speed on this flood issues we've had in the county. Right now, in Temple Hill, we're at 99% complete with it. We have some issues with, private property, which we've always had that issue with some property that's overflowed, done damage to the road and bridges. I'm working on that. The issue is down in Cumberland Creek. We got a cost right now, Cumberland Creek, $324,400. It was 581 something, so I thought with the NRC, the culverts are $150,000, that's pretty good. The bid goes out to be, probably around 150,000 on it, if we dug it, so. NRC part was 332,000, they paid 250, and our part will be 83,000. So, you know, and we're just, we're still about halfway on it. Going back as we were, we're not doing any upgrades, we probably can't do that, but the NRC needs to know if it's a goal for them to start doing the preliminary on the water irrigation, they will not pay nothing on the water. If it's a state aid road, we would get it, it's not a state aid road. You have, you got the crane, it's gonna come in 3 days, gotta have a crane set those, so we look at $10,000 possibility on that. And construction bid it out, because there's some concrete issue, we look at $150,000 probably bid out. So with all that, we cut down to 324,400 at this time. And I don't know what's going to, because I don't have go in, I'm not going to go in my balance and start cutting out, you start to do something other. Down the way, they have one works on what they've got. This does cover, even if the passing part, it goes to with 21,000 something, a bid part.
So,
We had to get an engineer on to, hard him to come in, make his issue what he thought would do the high rise study and stuff on that.
Which location is it?
Tunnel Creek. Yeah, it's Tunnel Creek.
Was
I mean, this is 3 times we have fixed this since January 2020.
is this one of the projects submitted to the FEMA for funding?
Yes, we just, that's Ed and I was talking, you know, we made, they have such loopholes, when you work with them, some, they come out and they see that this culvert is not exactly what they decided is done, they'll withdraw it, they'll give you a contract, they'll withdraw it, they just keep sending you paper. For instance, Park County was superintendent of our courthouse had a $1.5 million bridge bill over there. Almost 2 years, and then it's sent down, but every time they send that, it's in payment, they always send back, well, this was done, or this was right. So we have to go back and do a census. So, Mr. Herman, you sure it didn't say, you know, we may get it, we may not, it looks at. We won't get anything. I don't know, the money's short, people live there, and it's 3 times, this is faded out. But every time I went up there, I'm running right now about 94,000 coming creek right now on this last project. I've got them going, the roads pretty fair shape, I've got them going out of the week. You know, I can't go both sides on the road because the new one have to build the road. It's an issue.
so your estimate asked from the general fund is,
We're going to put $324,400. I mean,
Because you said 253 was NRC, so you're asking for like 80,000 from the county?
Yeah, somewhere in that. Yeah, that will take care of that will take care of the NRC. 75% of the NRC. I mean, 25, we have to pay NRC. Match, yeah. We would have to pay that. Now, on the house, on the total, it's at 150,000, so we over. We're gonna have to eat all that, plus the frame, plus the bid, you know. If we go with NRC, or if we go back to just like it is, take a chance on it, do it again over and over.
We did many times this past
We've
year.
been 3 times already.
The last 2 winters of the record rainfall, so over 100 years. I don't know, it's tough when you have 100-year floods, you know,
2 years in a row.
Right.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, it's all in all, it's been rough, you're right, Eric.
There's still, and I mean, some of that 21,000, my mom, I seen with your, landscape, van, irrigation, vans, lighting, all that, telephone, all this. We can pretty much itemize out, we're gonna have to be, you put it in, it's total cost, 21,000. Just getting to come out, Thursday was $3,500, so, I mean,
That's all.
Better took a lot of steps for that money.
That's what you charge. That's Jason Harris. That's Jason.
So we're looking at a lot,
You know, they go 2 days, and they go 3 days, I mean, they won't get into it. I figure if you build this down, at least it's gonna cost $150,000 just to get it out. Because I don't have the manpower to do the, I can go in, go overhead walls, the main part is. The biggest part is get it right away, get it in and out.
So how much are you asking for the county?
Let's see, 153 short.
33, 233.
The 150, is that just for the culvert or do you get?
That's just for the doors, yeah. That's just $50,000.
$150 profit, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So 233.
I was hoping for that grant money to come down, that there would be money there, but it's, you know, so, you know, they have to look at that, and look at that grant list.
I mean, you know, we put it back like this, take a chance, maybe next year we'll in and do. You know, I just had to pay the other little bit, because, you know, seeing folks. It's just an unusual place to be in work, it's just like this, you got three here, and go right here, and that's it, just what.
We're talking about a significant amount of money, I'm not sure exactly what the dollar amount would be, but I think District Two people, you know, not asking hesitation about that much money on a project up in Humboldt Creek that's, you know, serving just very few people.
And I know that you, NRC is going to do a study on slowing the water down, Flag Pond, Honey Creek, and all that, and I talked to the supervisor over in RSC, or he's very, he's really tens of millions of dollars to slow that water down. And the 75% or 25% of that can be us. He said, I want to have one place that we can hold water back, let it come through. He still falls back and can't build a foot, which it is, it's in the valley. He doesn't understand their homes are in that, they're in that building, but you've never, not been up for the last couple of weeks, I think that's going to take right through there. Unless they kind of stream that, you know, a little bit, water run off the main road. You know, Bruce, when the cat, it's, you find that you can pass cars, and I go out there and it's opened up. I think if it was opened up the way it is now, I got permission from landowners that don't judge the property to it, we will not be in this problem. They had to hit the ones that don't get the land, they had to hit them to make blue about it. And that's sad, yes.
When will Gentry Mountain be open up?
We did 2 days, we had to. We just put them 2 days in Karen Blood, and we got all the trash.
They're just really
I swear I've seen her through basket. They open. 2 days, but we're not gonna pay it right now on it. I just let it set, see what it does, so.
What about on Jones Range for that, what's the
I'm just gonna get this done, and then I can go up and start that up, and we're gonna start with all, we're like one permit, start on McIntyre Springs. All that stuff in, was last Saturday, I signed off on it. Doug Bowman, I think is gonna be the host, do the job, and that's gonna be, we got to find somebody to change that on. I've got that here. We've just got several places around this, you know, still popped up after the flood and nobody's seen, you know, a little big stuff comes up, I purchased 2 pieces of equipment, be able to work, big farm tumbling creek, you know, be able to get in there and push, get in with big equipment. It's up to you on just, whether you want, if you want to put this back off the NRC and try to do this the NRC, the stabilization of the roads, and hold off on the culverts, concrete culverts, all that, you know.
All the, just the, what I'm trying to, for you to do the NRC and all you need to do, you're gonna need $80,000.
Just the NRC portion?
Yes, it's the NRC one, $80,000.
Okay.
85,000. Oh, I'm sorry, 83.
And plus, how much more you gonna need after that? I mean,
150.
150 for the culverts.
Those drain, those, just like Matt said, it's.
So we have to fund. We have to fund.
Well,
I guess I would think just whatever you think is the best solution in the highway department, work it out. Maybe you're gonna get the FEMA money, but I just don't know how we can do it out of the general fund.
No, we can't do
And
it.
we'll do it.
If you went, well, I want you to sit there at 13%, you would have to have those funds to have to increase. That's me sitting there figuring on this piece of paper.
And I know you mentioned there might be a cheaper solution to just go back as is. And I guess I would leave it up to you and the highway department and how you want it. Whichever way you think is best.
He's gotta have the money to do
Yeah, I would do that.
anything else.
If I
That's it.
sleep without being ready to win that word.
And while you have some funding right now, you do have funding coming in to account for some of that cost, so we gotta look at that too. But you have some funding coming in from NRC that would help offset that cost.
Yeah, they would do on the work on the side of the road, or they do $250,000 that, and we still our part will be $83,000, be honest with you. They can't guarantee, they're not gonna guarantee you that that's gonna be a complete fix. That's just, see, on your problem,
We did that down there. Tame Hall, didn't we, Jason? Remember that? Went down and looked at that Tame Hall
It's gonna be costly when you go, I mean, we'll try to get it, I did have those.
What have you got in your fund balance, Terry? 3 million? Good county about a million.
It would have been, start borrowing from you.
I lose your interest rate.
Those, cities, I go off to, go at 408 CFI. Long water. These ones, I can tell them we just trying to do what we can do and go now, but I don't want to get into that. We may have, like I said, the more floods to come, it seems like every year they just get worse and worse.
Would you consider dipping into any of it?
I have, I spring, I've already been Sunday, I can be
How many homes is up in that Tunnel Creek area?
I say that probably, let's say 10 homes, 10 to 15 homes.
Yeah, I mean, there may be some money down the road making the FEMA, but I would think that it'd be hard for us to be getting the benefit from the general fund. That's not, that's how we make a decision.
I just want to make you all let you see where we're at today on the issue of it. And we may not have that, but that's the fact, Alan John's friends just mentioned. We won't go out there to that channel, pay 30, take the chance on pay, say $8,000. Hope you don't say, and we put a permanent fix to it. Change you take. Yeah.
And like we just did that little crystal ball.
With today.
You got plenty of money, you do a lot of things too.
Anything else for the good of the order?
along with them.
Ain't nobody appreciate anybody, Dave, I just like to thank you, all y'all do a good job, and I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, appreciate you.
If everybody feels appreciated, we want to adjourn. Thank you all very much. We'll-
After we come back from the cut, first,